really like that. The problem is like I said, he's not necessarily a problem, but like I said, he is a ref. He is a fucking retcon, and he's a needed retcon because the Upside Down, I do feel like, while interesting, they never really explored it. You didn't have it. I think I've seen a lot of people point this out. It is nice having a villain that actually talks, that has a face. And then not just has a face, that actually talks. The Mind Flare was just a spider cloud and then like a flesh spider in the end in season 3. So it is to have an actual villain that talks and that doesn't have to like take over somebody else's body is nice. So, and the way they slowly give you Vecna's backstory, like it's revealed that the kid because Robert Englund has a really nice cameo where he plays a father who they think he's like Victor something. They think he's like the one who killed his family, but it turns out it was Henry. That's Vecna's real name. And after that, he puts himself in a coma. He was put in Papa's care, and he was named number 1. And then this is where 11, now back to 11 again. We see her hone her powers and skills, but we see her getting bullied by the other students. And basically, Henry is trying to get 11 to not trust. He's almost like trying to groom her to be like his apprentice, like in a way, because we get the reveal that it wasn't her who did the slaughter from the beginning of episode 1. It was Henry, and they have a big cool fight, and he sends Henry through a wall, and this is basically how he gets turned into Vecna. And they even like have a thing which I love, where they make it seem like potentially, because they do show you that yeah, look, we all know Papa's not a good guy. He does torture some of the students. So they do show that he did kind of torture Henry a little bit. Well, 11 tries to tell her that, and then he just straight up Vecna tells her like, no, I'm evil. Like, I really like that. Like, it doesn't matter that his backstory or not. He's still a bad guy. So, the kids decide, not the kids, but the group decides, I'm just going to say Eddie's group, decides what they're going to do is confront Vecna at the house and this is where we get the plan where they're going to use Max as bait. And this is before that. I'm gonna get to the scene where Vecna nearly kills Max, and this is where we get the first look at Vecna's lair. I really love it. They did a really good job of setting that up, and they really did make you believe, at least in that scene, oh, Vecna might be able to get away. I knew in my head, oh yeah, he's not going to kill her here. But I did think, like, oh man, they actually make it seem like this could actually happen. But it doesn't. Then they end up playing, this is where we get Running Up the Hill by Kate Bush playing. I don't think I ever listened to that song ever. Or, no, I think I have. I just never put this name to the song. And she gets snapped out of it. They basically realize this is how you can not defeat him, but you gotta have like the specific song for you playing in your head. And I thought that was really cool, and it was a cool way to implement music into the show. I think in general, the way they implement music in the show this season is very well done. Like, there's like a separate ways like remix that they play when the group separates, when Lucas, Max, and Erica go on and do their part of the playing while Nancy and them go on. That was perfect. And I'll just spoil the scene when Eddie Munson, everyone's already talking about it, Eddie Munson played Master of Puppets in episode 9. I'm not gonna lie, that scene happened. I nerded the fuck out. Because I think I didn't necessarily think it was gonna be Master of Puppets, but it makes sense. This season's set in 1986. The song actually fits the story too, but it also fits because it's 1986. That was the year the album came out, and basically he played it as a distraction. And just it was the way they actually played the song was perfect while everything else was happening. Like you have Jason and his group arriving at the house while Max is being chased by Vecna. It was perfect. And while I would have loved for them to play the whole song, the song is like 8 minutes. I can understand why they didn't play the whole thing. And it was perfect. But just like I said, the way they implemented music in this season was perfect. It didn't just feel like we're going to play this song just because, we're going to play Master Puppets just because it's 1986, so we're just playing like on the radio or something. No, they actually added it to the fucking story. And it's crazy, and it's awesome just to see that song rise. I mean, the song was already popular, but to see it even just rise in more popularity is crazy. And I'm not going to lie, since this season, I mean, I listen to Master Puppets anyway, but I have listened to it way more since this season. So, and Lucas at this point separates from the pop. And I really love Lucas's arc this season. Like, he realized, you know what, I'm not one of the popular kids. You know, the popular kids are crazy. He realized, yeah, these dudes are fucking crazy. I don't fit in with these people. Because, and it's like you understand because going back to I think it's like episode 1. And you understand, like, Lucas was basically talking about, I want to be popular because I'm tired of being picked on. I'm tired. I just want to, like, be able to go to school and live a normal life and just try to be popular, just be normal. But then it realized, these people aren't normal. So I thought that was very well done. And it's cool that Lucas actually has something to do this season compared to the other seasons where he really didn't have much to do. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for, like, it's sad. Mike, in a way, he's just Eleven's boyfriend. It's kind of sad. It's crazy because the first, I would really say 2 seasons. Same with Will. I would honestly say the same with Will a little bit. Will is just, he's your, like, he can feel Vecna coming. That's kind of it. Though they did come out and say next season he's gonna have way more of a role, but it's still like, yeah, I do feel bad that, like, it's just, this is the problem when you do have too many characters, and I do think some people did need to die. Jonathan, you could have killed off, and maybe even if it didn't get any feelings from people, it should have just happened. You could have, like, had it to where, like, Will is holding him or something. I think that you needed that. I mean, I thought Vecna was still an effective villain anyway, but having him kill off a major character, which he really didn't do. He didn't kill off any of the major characters. I'll just spoil it. Eddie died. He didn't get killed by Vecna. He died by the bats, which I thought it was a cool arc. You know, they wanted to show Eddie showing throughout the series this season. He's talking about, like, how it's better to run, that he's constantly running. He's like, I can't do it anymore. And Dustin watching, like, I thought Dustin's my favorite fucking, I've said it, from the kids, he's my favorite of the kids. And Steve's, like, my favorite of the group. But Eddie might take that role. The fact, like, his whole arc was beautiful. And I thought the death itself was executed very beautifully. And when he said, this is my year, and, basically tell Dustin, like, you got to continue what I've been doing and helping up, like, out, the outcasts and stuff. It was so, like, man. But I fucking hate that they killed him. And it's not just because I like the character. For me, it's very safe is the biggest thing. Hold on, let me see how long I've been going. Oh, shit. It's been going for 41 minutes. Let's go. I really feel like killing off Eddie, for me, was just too safe. Because they did this the other seasons, where instead of killing off one of the main group, they kill, like, the new character they introduce. And I think in this case, it was not me. Eddie was a character you easily could have built up for next season, and you could have. While I thought the scene itself and his death was executed well, you know how much more well that would have worked if you actually gave him a full season of build, or 2 seasons of build if you include this season, and then you kill him maybe closer to the end of next season. It's like that could have worked more instead of just. I felt like it was so safe to just kill him because you didn't. It was like we needed death, and it was almost like It was like I hate to say it. It was clearly written for Steve to die, and what I mean is not the arc itself. It's more we've all known that before Eddie, it was Steve was like Eddie was like Dustin's like kind of big brother figure that they were going for. So it's like, but we know they're not going to kill Steve. So because Steve's basically had how many near deaths at this point. Same with Hopper. I gotta agree overall with some people. There's just too much plot armor with the main characters at this point. Like, I do think some characters are just... And I'm not one of those people that says a death needs to make me care about a character, but it also does, like... Some characters needed to die. Like, I'm sorry. Killing Eddie was so fucking easy. It was so fucking safe. Because he's the new character. It's the same thing with them not killing Max. Duffer Brothers didn't pull the trigger. They didn't, they didn't have the balls to do it. And I think they felt like it was easier to kill off a new character in Eddie. And I hate to say it, I probably would have rather had Eddie get killed by Vecna than by bats. I don't know. It still worked for what they were going for. In that sense, it worked. But maybe, like, him, like, trying to face Vecna, face off against Vecna, if you're gonna keep Max alive anyway, you have him face off against Vecna. And also, a couple of people have pointed this out as a criticism. The fact that only Dustin is really the only one that's seen Eddie's sacrifice does kind of bother me. The fact that no one else knows about Eddie's sacrifice, minus that scene with Dustin telling Eddie's uncle about Eddie's sacrifice, was beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, I nearly teared up at that. I gotta give it to that actor, man, who played Dustin. That was fucking awesome. Very awesome performances overall this evening. Lucas's performance, but that scene is probably the best performance in terms of pure, like, acting. That scene was beautiful. But I still have a little bit of an issue of why didn't, like, Steve, Lucas, fucking Mike, who's also in the Hellfire Club, why didn't any of them acknowledge his death? The whole 2 days later thing was dumb, because that was what they did. They jumped 2 days later after the whole thing, and I'm still not done yet. I just kind of need a vent about Eddie's death. While the scene itself was beautifully executed, it really was, I really hated how it was such a safe option to kill Eddie and then not kill Max. Max, her whole arc this season, I'm gonna say it was clearly written for her to die, but they didn't want to. They wanted that scene of Lucas holding her in his hands, seemingly dying, but they didn't want. But then they wanted their cake and then eat it too. So we're not gonna commit to killing her. It was disappointing, because I also think it would have been far better story wise for season 5. Because I was thinking in my head, if you had did that, you can have it to where Lucas has a little bit of resentment on the group because he thinks they're the ones who came up with that idea. So he kind of blames them a little bit, but he also wants to get vengeance on Vecna. Which, the biggest thing they did right this year, and I'll get more into it later, keeping Vecna alive. But you have Lucas maybe wanting to get vengeance on Vecna and decides, you know what, I'm gonna try to draw him out so I can like try to fight him, but it doesn't go well. Like, that could be his whole arc, wanting revenge, and you know, Max's death needed to happen. I felt like it was so. Uh, anyway, but Eddie's death in itself, the execution was done well. It was just he's a character you easily could have built more off of, and I fear as much as I like the character, but they're gonna bring him back. The way it's being written, the way the Duffer Brothers, they're clearly seeing the wind in the air. They see that everyone loves the character, like unanimously. Everyone who loves season 4, even people who aren't necessarily metalheads, love Eddie. That's how good of a character he is, and it's like the power of a good character can mask a lot. Honestly, I mean, there's a lot of flaws. I honestly could go more into them. I don't want to, but I don't want to. But the characters, not just Eddie, but in general, well done characters can help mask a lot of flaws, and I really think Eddie's character alone does that. So I'm definitely happy that they Duffer Brothers gave us a character we could follow, but it was such a, I'm just gonna say it, a bitch decision to kill him. Such a safe decision to kill him, but then not kill Max. Just that was the one that needed to happen. If any death this season, that one needed to happen. But anyway, like little tweaks, you can make this season so good, like perfect. But overall, I would still say this is a good season. It's just little things like that bother me. But anyway, 11 basically starts realizing that Papa is the monster because Papa doesn't think 11's ready to fight Vecna. She wants to, well, because she realizes her friends are in danger. So, and I really do love how they build up Vecna as a threat throughout the show, like especially for Papa. Well, because Papa, like, yes, Papa basically was telling, yeah, you beat him once, but this dude has been building up power from the Upside Down for pretty much decades, since the 50s. Or I think this would have been the 70s. No, it's 1979 when this happened. Sorry. Wrong year. 1979 when this happened. So, like, they really do a good job of, like, building up Vecna throughout the show. So, the group finally go off to face Vecna. While that's happening, this is where I'm just going to jump to episode 9 now, because I kind of feel like I have been going on a bit long. Jason confronts Lucas, and I just kind of jump. 11 escapes the silo, has her final moment with Papa, and yeah, I think episode 8 is not a bad episode, but it did feel like a setup episode. That's all it was. It still works, but it is clearly a setup episode. Like, it's obvious. It's just, that's all it was there for, but it still works. Hold on. Sorry, guys. But yeah, the final episode, pretty much, 11 goes, because she wants to help Max from her location, which I like. I do think what they've done well with 11 is, even in the bad season of season 3, they have not made her a Mary Sue. Like, they do show you, well, one, there's physical restraints, like, things for the powers, and Vecna fucks her up. Like, when they first fight, it's not like she just beats Vecna up like nothing. Like, they do show you, like, there's things that come with her powers, and it does hurt her. So, pretty much the group commenced with their plan. Jason, this is my problem, and Mahler really pointed this out really well. The scene where Jason confronts Lucas fucks up. Luke is like, at this point, Max is in Vecna's world. At this point, she's not in reality. He can't just snap her out of it. Why not? Why isn't Lucas just telling Jason the truth at this point of what's going on to get him to understand? When, like, Jason asks her, snap her out of it. And he's like, all he says is, I can't. It's like, what? Bruh, really? Just tell him. It doesn't matter now. Just fucking tell him. Like, just saying, I can't? That, it's so stupid. But overall, like, we get the fight between Jason and Lucas. And I think this fight goes on a bit long. It should have been a couple of punches. Maybe Jason gets some shots on Lucas, but Lucas should have maybe just hit him over the head and that's it. It went on a bit long than it needed. And I get it. They wanted to show, like, the group kind of losing. Like, at this point, Vecna, like, has control of 11. She's in his lair. And I think, you know, you have Nancy, Steve, and Robin being choked out, which that one's a bit weird. It's like they should have died at that point. Like, plot armor. They were being choked with those tentacles for a good, I don't even know how long, and like they're somehow still alive. But yeah, so I thought this was a little cheesy when Mike basically had to be. Will basically tells Mike, "You're the heart. You're the heart for 11," and he gives her this pep talk and tells her he loves her, and then she gets her powers. But that was cheesy. It was cheesy for me. It didn't really bother me the first time. The second time watching it, I'm like, that's hokey, dude. Come on. I get what they were going for, but it was very hokey. Like, but yeah, she basically powers up, gets Vecna, stops him from trying to kill Max at the moment. But it's almost like too late because he already kind of started. And when she's holding him, this is where Nancy, Jonathan, and Robin shoot him and fuck him up in reality. And they burn him, and then he gets shot out the window, and then he disappears. I don't know if they did that on purpose to be an homage to Halloween, but that's kind of what I took it as. But it was already too late because Max already had her arms broken and she already started to have the blood coming out of her eyes. And this is where I was talking about the Lucas scene. And it's like, this scene was so good, but then they did the fake. Then, no, 11 saved her. She's still alive. Like, she's in a coma, but it's just, come on, guys. You should have pulled the fucking trigger. You should have pulled the trigger. I really hated that they didn't pull the trigger. But because of that, it still counts as a fourth body. The door opens, which I thought that scene was very well done. And we see Jason basically get split in half. And Mahler made another really good point in his discussion with Gary, Neurotics, on this season. Jason never had that moment of realization he was wrong. He was just written to be hurdle for Lucas and the group. That's it. It is kind of sad. Like, when you have characters like it's so fucked because you have great characters like Eddie, who's like multifaceted. Even like Steve. You know, Steve starts off as a douchey character and he grows. All they did with him with Jason is I'm asshole basketball player, crazy guy. That was it. He never even had a moment of realization he was wrong. I hated that. I really hated that. I kind of agree. That was not cool. I think you could have done more with this character. Even like you have fucking Eddie save him, or he ends up in the upside down for whatever reason. Like something. Or if you want to have him die in the upside down or something. Like instead of he just never has a moment of realization of being wrong, and then he just dies. That's pretty stupid. But Eddie's death was fucking. I hated him dying. But besides that, the scene itself was very well executed. Oh, I never talked about the Hopper storyline. Sorry, guys. I was mainly focusing on the main two. But yeah, Hopper was, in this Russian prison. Because, and to be fair, I look at this as more of a side plot. I still thought it was still a solid plot. It was a great way that we got old Hopper back, more reserved, smart, not just angry guy Hopper. And he was working with this guard, who I thought that was like some of my favorite shit with him. And then talking about, and Joyce and Yuri, not Yuri, um, trying to, Joy and Barry going to Russia to try to get Hopper back. I thought that was cool. Joyce and I'm happy as much as I kind of liked batshit crazy Joyce. I thought it was cool they toned that back this season. They didn't have her be batshit. She just felt like she was just kind of normal trying to save her man. And it was weird because I didn't really know how to feel when they were setting up the whole Joyce Hopper love story initially. But I actually, it works for me. I was like, all right, this works. And we see that the Russians have their own Demogorgon and and the Demogorgons escape. They break Hopper up. This was the stupid part. They felt like to help the kids, they had to go back to kill some Demogorgons. That was dumb. I didn't really get that going back to the Russian prison. That storyline should have just been about getting Hopper out. That's it. I think it should have just ended there. But overall, it still worked as a story. But then we jump 2 days later, which I hate. I wanted to kind of see the immediate aftermath of this whole thing, and they just kind of jumped 2 days. So now the Upside Down is basically starting to open into the real world. The world still thinks Eddie's a fucking murderer, which is kind of weird because why aren't the other kids arrested for also being in the Hellfire? It's weird. But pretty much the family reunites. We see that Hopper reunite with his daughter 11, which I like. I thought that was very well done. Mike reunite with his family. The kids all reunite together. They see that Max is in a coma, which, like I said, I hate. They should have just pulled the trigger and killed her. But anyway. Yeah, guys. Overall, then the last episode ends with them looking and seeing that the Upside Down and that Vecna's still around, which Will pretty much says Vecna's hurting, but he's pretty much figuring out basically to come back. And the mind flares out too. So they're setting up the next season, which unfortunately won't be for like 2 fucking years. So, but it's crazy that I'm even hyped to even be talking about season 5 of Stranger Things when I didn't think I would be even watching the show again, but they did a good job this season balancing these multiple stories. Sorry guys if it just seemed like I was bouncing around a bit, but I didn't want to review every single episode. I'm happy they kept Vecna alive. That was the smartest decision, I think, of the entire season was that. He was such a good villain, and it would have been kind of disappointing for him to just be a 1-season villain. So it's cool they kept him around. They don't exactly tell you. Now, I'm happy they didn't show him either. I think that would have been kind of cheesy to show him. So I like that they just kind of tell you, like Will's line, that's it. That gives you that, oh shit, he's going to come back fucking hard, dude, next season. Can't wait. But this season I would almost say if I was teaching a film school, even, I don't know if they do film school for TV, but on how to fix your TV show, this would be the season to do it. Or this would be an example. I don't think they completely fixed everything, but the fact that they managed to write themselves out of a corner, we have an actual villain now on the show. They made me like Max, who I hated. Or I didn't really hate in season 2. Hated her in season 3. They fixed Nancy. They gave Lucas something to do again. 11 feels like old school 11 again from season 1. Because I'm going to be honest, they try to, like, and I get Millie Bobby Brown maybe wanted more lines and didn't want to just be silent for 2 seasons, but to me, 11 is better when she does not talk a lot. And I think they kind of went back to that a little bit. She still talked this season, but they definitely didn't, like, have her say, like, a bunch of shit. Like, they kept her, like, lines still kind of minimal. She felt like 11 from season 1 to me again. You know, we toned down the over-the-top shit. There's no, like, Steve punching fucking Russians and shit this season. They kept it, like, if anyone's gonna be punching Russians, it's Hopper, because at least he's like a cop, you know? He's trained a little bit. That's believable. But fucking Steve, who... I know I'm going back on this again. It was so over the top. Steve, who couldn't beat up Billy or Jonathan, beating up, like, Russians, so anyway. But they toned that down. They made me love a new character in Eddie fucking Munson. And like I said, I don't like that they killed him. And it's not just because I like the character. I just truly feel like it was such a safe, basic bitch decision. Let's kill the new character and not kill Max, who had 2 seasons of build-up at this point. And her whole arc was setting her up essentially for her to die, and they just didn't pull it. And that scene with her and Lucas would have been so much more meaningful if they actually had pulled the trigger. But anyway, I don't want to keep ranting about that. But overall, Stranger Things Season 4 I would give it an 8 out of 10 overall. Very well done. I'm happy to finally talk about some good TV. So, definitely pretty interested in see where they go for Season 4, 5. And, yeah. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Stranger Things Season 4 is really good. I recommend it.